Day 12 of StoryADay May, and you're back. Today's prompt comes from Elise Holland, who gives us a poetic prompt today. That's not to say that you have to write a poem. It's not to say that your language necessarily has to be floral or poetic. We have a poem from the master, Shakespeare. So it is day 12. You are getting into a rhythm of writing. You're possibly also getting a little tired. So one of the best things you can do when you're tired is to steal. And we're going to steal from the best today. So go and read the poem that, the sonnet that Elise Holland has given us from Shakespeare. And she's given you lots of ways to think about how you could work with poetry or other people's material to stimulate your own work. I would encourage you to think about the many and varied ways that we find people using other folks' works, not just, rap does it, and hip hop and sampling and all that kind of stuff made it kind of controversial in my youth to take stuff from other people, but artists have been doing that forever. And there are all kinds of lines that I come across that I think are titles of songs or lines from other people's stories that turn out to be either from Shakespeare or the Bible. And I come across them in their primary works and I'm like, oh, that's where it comes from, and that's the extra layer of meaning that it now has for me in the place I knew it from, whether that's a popular song or a television episode or a novel. So don't be afraid to steal. This isn't plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take something and try and pass it off as your own. If you are using a line from a poem as inspiration, that's not the same as a derivative work. So I don't think we have to worry too much about the legalities of copyright and derivatives and plagiarism in our StoryADay challenge. So go over to the blog, read this post by Elise. She's got lots of resources for you. And have fun, and maybe highlight in your story the line or the piece that you used from somebody else's inspiration, or maybe don't. See if other people can spot it. I know at the moment none of us are really getting enough time to read each other's work, which can be part of the fun of this, but it does tend to fall away a little in the middle as everybody gets busy. Don't worry about that. We're gonna come back round later in the year. June, July, August, probably later in the year as well, with some kind of critique thing, and I want you to stay tuned for that. If you want to be involved in keeping the momentum going, or keeping this accountability that you've conjured up in this month so far going, I've got you. I'm working on it. We're going to do something together later in the year as well. Go and write, have fun, and I will see you again tomorrow.